back to the Racing Pigeon Podcast, Season 1, Episode 12, and I think we have another interview today, don't we, Kevin?
Yeah, we sure do. So this will be our atypical kind of episode. We're going to step away from education for a moment, and we're going to talk to Drew from Lavendar Hill Lofts. And he's got a big announcement to make that a lot of people already in the hobby will find very interesting and enlightening. So let's hear a little bit from Mr. Drew. I think you guys will really enjoy it.
Sounds good.
Electrofly Plus. Champions take flight with Electrofly Plus, a fully water-soluble supplement with vitamins, electrolytes, and avian-specific direct-fed probiotics built for serious fanciers. Each serving delivers 19 billion probiotics with essential electrolytes and vitamins to support hydration, gut balance, and recovery. Used during training, transport, heat, breeding, weaning, or any stressful period when birds need extra support. Simply mix in drinking water. Clean, simple, effective. Follow at Electrofly Company on social media and order online at jeds.com, pigeonmart.com, or foyspetsupplies.com, or pick it up at any of those locations. Electrofly Plus. Champions take flight. All right, welcome back, everybody, to another episode of the Racing Pigeon Podcast with Kevin and Wes. Wes is on vacation this week, so you're just stuck with Kevin. But I am so pleased to be joined by a special guest. We have Drew from Lavendar Hill Loft joining us today. And Drew's kind of made some waves in the pigeon sport recently. If you follow along on Facebook, you may have seen the news. But we will get to all that with Drew. So first of all, Drew, thank you so much for joining us today, taking time out of your day to enlighten us on what's happening. For the people that don't know you in the pigeon sport, can you give us a little background about your history? How did you get into the sport? When did you get into the sport? What are some of your major accomplishments or things you're most proud of in the sport so far?
Sure. Look, I appreciate it. And I want to congratulate you guys on doing such a great job with your podcast here. I know a lot of people watch this, and this is really good. The sport needs this kind of sport promotion going on. So thank you very much for having me on. Okay. I've been in the sport I've had pigeons since 1989 when I got my first pigeons. My first racing pigeons came from a guy named Art Zernia from Franklin, Wisconsin. A lot of us older fanciers will know him for having Hammer and Zernia Pigeon Supply Company. And Art treated me really well, and I got into it. I joined my first club under my grandmother's name because I wasn't old enough yet, and flew with the Five Valley Racing Pigeon Club there in Montana, where I'm originally from. So from there, life takes you around the world, and I've flown in Spokane, Washington. And then I moved from there, met my wife, and we moved to Washington, D.C., where we lived there for nearly 25 years. And I was a member of the Cap City Racing Pigeon Club, which is one of the oldest racing pigeon clubs in the country. Yep. And from there, I joined Green Springs Valley, and we were in the Combine, the Metropolitan Washington Racing Pigeon Combine, of which I served, I think, in every position, including concourse president. And so I've had the privilege to fly in multiple clubs and meet a lot of really good guys in our sport and hobby. So it's been interesting and fun. As for accomplishments, I've had the opportunity to travel around the world and meet fanciers from every country except Japan and China, where pigeons are kept. I have met the King of Belgium. I've been to the Queen's Loft in England when she was alive. I have been one of the first, if not the first, pigeon fancier to tour Iceland and go and visit pigeon guys in Iceland. That was a fantastic trip.
Well, wow. I didn't know they flew pigeons in Iceland.
I didn't either until I got there, and we were in the middle of nowhere, and I mean the middle of nowhere, Kevin, and there was pigeons flying, and I looked at my wife. She goes, "There's no way there's pigeons here in Iceland."
Yeah,
no. Those are racing pigeons. So I think on accomplishments, racing wise, I've won my fair share of club and combine races. Okay. I think one of the neat trophies that I have is I won the 2016 IF convention in Washington, D.C. with two pigeons.
Oh, wow.
And took first and second on that. That was a lot of fun.
Wow.
But you know, I've won, like I said, lots of combine races, lots of fraternity races, band races in my local area. And I particularly like 300, 350-mile youngbird races, and I love the distance racing in old birds. So,
Okay.
yeah, I'm a racing man through and through.
Okay, perfect. Now you beyond just racing and serving as concourse president and all the things you mentioned that are fabulous, you had a publication, right?
Yes,
The Loft Report, I believe it was called. Tell
the
us about
Loft Report. Yeah,
how that came
yeah,
into existence. What was it? What happened to it? Fill us in on
sure.
those details.
So, you know, I grew up with magazines like the Bulletin, and of course the Racing Pigeon Digest, and the Thoroughbred.
Yeah.
And because I was traveling and meeting guys, and I wanted to write articles about people that I admired and people that I wanted to learn from,
Mhm.
I started to submit those articles, and that kind of grew into a full-time hobby of just interviewing local and regional and national champions.
Mhm.
And from that, I thought, the internet is kind of a new thing, and there's really not a blog, there's not a message board for pigeons.
Yeah.
And so I started a blog called the Loft Report, and that was extremely successful. We ran from 2007 until just before COVID,
Okay.
and I had a lot of fun with it, and we did a lot of good things.
Okay, interesting. And so during COVID, you just decided you weren't traveling anymore, and so you just kind of
Yeah,
stopped the blog,
yes,
or
COVID happened, and my wife and I were remodeling our house, and it got to the point where the I wasn't able to travel and see those kind of folks.
okay.
And I was like, this is a good spot to stop, and people supported me, and we did that. So from
Mhm.
there, Kevin, I then turned it into a Facebook group, and
Okay.
and
Okay.
then that added into more popularity.
Okay.
And believe it or not, I mean, we were getting up to 6 to 8,000 views per article on the Loft Report from all over the world, including right now on the Loft Report Facebook group. So
Huh.
there's quite a reach there.
Yeah. Well, there really is. People seem to be desperate for not only knowledge but stories and
Yeah,
everything in the pigeon kind of hobby, right? I mean, we're just desperate to hear from people who are successful,
right.
to learn from them, and thank goodness we have the internet because it's
Yes,
so much easier to learn from the masters compared to the 70s and 80s, when you literally had to knock on their door. Hello, sir. I'd like to
right.
introduce myself, right? It's easier now. You have Frank McLaughlin with his channel and all these people, and it's just a lot easier. So I applaud you for being at the forefront, of that kind of era
And
and ushering in that digital era into the pigeon hobby. I think it was desperately needed back then.
right.
And I think
And
it's
it's still
super.
needed. It's still needed now, Kevin. And I
Yep.
do have a YouTube channel. I haven't posted on it for, I mean, many years, but
Mhm.
from that, it was just Lavendar Hill Loft, Washington, D.C. I specifically did not put my name in it because I was getting so many calls and emails and social media messages
Mhm.
from all over the world, people wanting to know more information, wanted me to come travel there, wanted to come visit. I had people from South Africa, I had people from
Wow.
China, I've had
Wow.
people from Germany, Holland, Belgium, Croatia. I've had them,
Yep.
Canada, Mexico. They have all come to my house in Washington,
Wow.
D.C., and it was because of this YouTube channel. And so
Wow.
there is an appetite there, and I do see that.
There
So
is. So you probably have an interesting perspective on pigeon flyers then. Um, can you tell us some characteristics that most successful pigeon flyers have in common?
sure, I would say that that's a great question. I think it's dedication. It is
Dedication.
commitment,
To the
and
to the birds, right?
to the birds, to the sport, to themselves, to the hobby.
Okay.
Pigeon guys, we compete against each other,
We do.
right?
Yeah.
My NFL team's competing against your NFL team, And on Saturday, I'm competing against everybody in my club. Friday night, we can shake hands. Saturday evening, we can shake hands and congratulate each other. But during race day, I am competitive, right? Just like you are.
Yeah.
And so you take guys who are dedicated. I mean, I know a gentleman, he's multiple national ace loft here in America. You know, he starts his day at 4:30 every day in the loft.
Mm.
You know, he closes everything down at 8:30 at night.
Yep.
He's completely dedicated to his birds, and he is extremely hard to beat.
Yep.
You know, and guys
and that's
accuse
7
him
days a week, 365 days a year, by the way.
That's exactly right. There is no off season.
Yeah, that's right.
And so I would pick up on that. I think it's true dedication to the sport.
Yeah.
And to the birds.
Okay, for sure, for sure. All right, so we've moved on from the loft report per se. We now have a Facebook group. But something else is I think piqued your interest lately.
Yes.
So I think most of our listeners probably have heard of the Racing Pigeon Digest.
Sure.
How long has the Racing Pigeon Digest been around for? Do you know when it first started?
Yes. So Gene started it in 1992.
92. Okay.
1992.
We're talking over 34 years here. This puppy's going, right? Okay.
Right.
So for those that don't know, what is the Racing Pigeon Digest? Just for people that may not know what it is.
Sure. So the Racing Pigeon Digest is the only physically printed magazine dedicated to the sport and hobby of racing pigeons in North America.
Okay. The only printed one.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Very good. And it's been around since 1992.
Yes.
And you used to write articles.
Correct.
For it, correct?
Yes. I used to write under the banner of Coast to Coast.
Okay.
You know, that was a great time. I loved it. It was good.
Perfect.
And I got a lot of benefit from that. A lot of people recognized me for my articles from the digest. And then that, like we talked about earlier, molded into the Loft Report and then to where we are today.
Certainly. So where are we today?
Well, I'm very excited to announce that Gene Yo's the owner publisher of the digest. He's decided to retire after all these years, and he called me and asked if I'd be interested in carrying on the mantle of the digest. And I thought, you know, this is an opportunity that doesn't come very often. And I love to write. I love to talk to pigeon guys. I am a pigeon man through and through. And I thought, you know, I think we could do this. And taking it from a printed magazine and then modernizing it, I think we can do that. And I'm excited about that opportunity.
Wow, that's some big news. So when does the official transfer happen, or has it happened already?
It's technically happened now. The first edition that we're putting out is the April 1st edition. It's the breeder's edition. So that goes to every registered member of the AU and the IF.
Okay.
And then from there, we'll do it every month after that. So we produce it twice a month from February to April, and then from May to January, it's once a month. So
once a month. Okay.
Yeah.
So what changes might we expect to see? Because I subscribe to the digest, so I get it.
Sure.
When the mailman decides to bring it, sometimes I get 2 months and they all show up together. I don't know.
We'll talk about that.
Okay.
That's part of the modernization.
So I have noticed in the last maybe 2 or 3 years, the issues are getting thinner and thinner.
Sure.
There doesn't seem to be as many articles, especially current articles. There's several reprints from years ago, which is fine. So, you know, what's your plan? Just tell us a little bit about what do you think the future looks like for the printed version of the Racing Pigeon Digest?
Well, the printed version is going to continue. We're going to keep that. And the reason is, Kevin, is, and I'm telling this to advertisers, and this is very apparent to me, not everybody that takes the digest is on social media. And not everybody on social media takes the digest.
Very true.
And a lot of the folks who do take the digest don't even have email. I was talking to a major advertiser the other day, and he was telling me about how he uses constant contact to contact his clients today. And that's great. And you need to do that. Except the vast majority of people who take the digest don't use email.
Oh my gracious.
And that was shocking to me. So
it is to me too, actually.
So and that's a huge subset of the sport. The digest goes to nearly more than half of the people who pay AU and IF dues in the country. So it is the largest. It's a huge amount of people who take the digest, which is really good.
Yeah.
But to the modernization of it, it's having fresh eyes, right? It's talking to it's talking to folks like Tony Rossi, who's a legend within our sport, and talking about feeding, racing, training, genetics. It's talking to guys like Mark Pieper, who comes from the same area. His family have 1,000 first prizes in the Chicago, Milwaukee area. Yeah. What's your system? How do you feed?
Yeah.
And I think there is a place to have, or Bruno in California, who's dominating the FVC, or, Eric Alvarez in Florida, who's doing fantastic work in Tampa, or, Charlie Barberi in New Jersey. I mean, these are just guys. I mean, that, I just talked to, and Eric Houchin in Spokane. I mean, so these are guys that most people they may know them, but they don't know their attributes and how they are very successful people.
Exactly.
Like I was referencing the other gentleman before. His name is Errol Ecker. He's in Boring, Maryland. I talk about him all the time. There's nobody as tough a competitor as him. Nobody knows him because he doesn't advertise his pigeons. He's not on social media. Yep. And yet, honestly, Kevin, I'd put him up against anybody in Europe.
Oh my gracious.
So the point is I really want to drill down and find these Americans who are at the top of their game. Yep. They're experts in their field. Yep. And I want to learn from them. And if I'm learning, maybe you as a reader are going to learn this too. It's great to know how Charlie Barberi got into the sport. I appreciate that. I want to know, how are you winning CJC races? Exactly. How did you build your bloodline? What are you feeding them? What is the medical? What is the training system? Yep. What does your loft look like? What's your competition like? What is your average speed happening here? What's your philosophy on one loft races? And so I think that's where we're going, is to modernize the content within it so that it's more relative to you and I, and hopefully to future generations. In addition to the print side, we're building a website. The website will be part of the subscription. You will be able to access the same content online as you are in the print. And we'll tie that to social media. So we'll be touching social media folks and capturing that information, but also we'll have the printed side. So we're really combining both silos of fanciers who are looking for good, decent information. And then on top of it, the biggest growth in our sport right now is within the Spanish community, the Latino community. There is no publication for them. So I have spoken to several top Spanish speaking fanciers, and part of the digital aspect of it is we are going to write articles about folks within that community who again are excelling, who are doing well, who are well respected. And people I don't know, maybe people you don't know, but our sport, and our sport transforms language, economics, culture, race, demographic, all of it. So I want to go find those people, and I want to bring them forward, and I want to shine a little bit of light on them.
I actually have I've met people from Cuba, and we're friends on WhatsApp, and we chat several times a week. I have to translate their message because I don't speak Spanish, unfortunately. But I mean, the pigeon sport to me is like music. You don't have to necessarily understand each other. If you both love the same thing, it just works. You have something in common already. And it's just fascinating. All right, well, why don't we take a little break here and hear from one of our advertisers, and then we will come right back and continue this conversation, Drew. I want to hear a little bit more about what you have planned for the future with the Racing Pigeons Digest. So we'll be right back after you hear from our sponsor, guys. Stay tuned. Be back in a minute. All right, pigeon people, listen up. And yes, I know you're out there. If you're tired of your birds giving you that, you could have upgraded me by now look, it's time to visit rpauctions.com. This is the hot spot where racing pigeon breeders buy, sell, and outbid each other like it's the Super Bowl of feathers. The site's easy to use, the birds are top notch, and the bidding gets, let's just say, intense. So do your loft a favor. Head over to rpauctions.com and find a bird that won't judge you every time you walk by. All right, welcome back, everybody. We are pleased again to be joined by Drew from Lavendar Hill Loft, and he was telling us all about his plans to, well, I guess he's already acquired the Racing Pigeon Digest, but telling us a little bit about his plans to modernize it, which I feel like is a really good thing. Can we talk about how long it takes to get the printed version, first of all? Sometimes I
Sure.
don't get mine for 6 or 8 weeks after I know other people have gotten it, and I know it's the second class mail situation, but
Right.
what's the plan there? I mean, is it always going to
So
be like that?
I hope not.
Okay.
So the printed version, the way it's set up now is there are multiple brokers within from me when I put together the magazine a month out. Then
Okay.
it has to go through the setup folk, and then it goes to the printing agent, and the agent then takes a look at it, sends it to the printing house. The printing house then prints
Wow.
it, and then those are mailed to a mailing house, which is in the middle of the country, and then
Oh
they got
my
to put
God.
labels on it, and then it's put in the mail, and then it's mailed to you. So it
Well, that doesn't
takes
sound like a very efficient process, Jake.
no, it takes a lot of
Wow.
time to turn that wheel. So
Okay.
hopefully we're going to modernize that and turn that into, we're used to instant gratification, right?
Yeah.
And there's some modernization coming to how it's being going to be put together, how it's going to be printed, and how it's going to be mailed. I
Okay.
can't predict how the USPS works. I mean, uh, we all mail pigeons, and they're supposed to be there on Wednesday, and we don't hear from them for 8 days,
Let's
right?
not bring. Let's not talk
And
about that, Drew.
that's guaranteed, right? So we're doing the best we can, but I think through the modernization of it and with the updated information and having fresh vendors and having new eyes on things, I think it's going to be exciting. And then pairing it with folks like yourself. I mean,
Yeah,
rising water raises all boats, Kevin. You know
that's
that, and
right.
I know that.
That's right.
So
Absolutely, man. As we grow the sport, things should improve.
that's right.
What about the cost of the digest? I mean, I think it's, personally for me, I think it's a really reasonable rate to pay for a printed magazine because let's face it, most printed magazines and most hobbies are gone. I raised parrots for 10 years. That's what I did as a business. And we used to have a magazine called Bird Talk. You'd find it in the grocery store, right on the
Right.
rack. And,
Right. I
I'd
remember it.
advertise in there and it was great. But man, by 2010 was gone. I mean, they were all
Right.
gone. So I think the rate is real reasonable, but how do you anticipate cost wise this process happening? Are we going to see possible cost increases or are you going to work hard to
No,
kind
not
of maintain
not at
what we've
this
got?
not at this time. No, I mean the
Okay.
digest is $44 a year, which is less than $2 a month.
Exactly.
Where can you get that kind of information and those kind of resources for? I mean,
For
I don't
nowhere.
even know if you can buy a pop at the grocery store for $2.
I don't believe you can anymore.
Um, no, the
Nope.
costs aren't going to go up, but I think what you're going to see is you're going to see a much more aggressive digest pushing forward, trying to get into more information, more silos of people,
Okay.
not because it's trying to be profitable, but it's trying to deliver information. Let me give you just a quick example. I was in Mexico a few years ago,
Mhm.
and we were standing with one of the national champions, and I asked him, how are you going to motivate your pigeons for this big race coming up?
Mhm.
What do you mean motivate them? I said, well, aren't you going to divide them or separate them, or what are you going to do? And we've talked, and I was with a Belgian champion at the time too, and
Yeah.
and we were dumbfounded by that.
Huh.
How can you go around the world and buy these exquisite pigeons and have these absolutely stunning lofts and not have any access to how to fly a Widowhood or a roundabout system in young birds or darkening or lighting?
Oh my gracious.
So there are a lot of people out there that are starving for information,
Yeah.
and like you, I want to be one of those legs of the table that people come to and rely on for good, current, and up to date information. So I think you're gonna for the amount of money, it's $44 a year. I don't know where you could get that.
No, I don't think you can beat it at all personally. I mean, it's mostly full color. I mean, it's a gorgeous publication already. Do you plan to kind of keep the styling and everything the same? Or what might you modernize that as well?
Uh, yeah, I probably will change it a little bit, but it's like buying an F-150 or a Chevy. I mean,
Mhm.
there's an
Yeah,
established brand. You don't want to change it too much. And
exactly.
and I'd just like to say too that one of the things I'm very cautious about, just like you were in your business, is
Mhm.
change is hard.
Yep.
And a lot of people don't like change. And if you make too much change, it gives people an excuse to not be a
Yeah,
subscriber or a reader or
exactly.
an advertiser. I'm not interested in completely throwing the baby out with the bathwater here.
Okay.
There's an established brand, and we're gonna build, and we're gonna keep moving forward.
Good. Good.
And we're open to criticism. We're also open to hear what we're doing right. I mean, not
Mhm.
everything is good. We
Mhm.
understand that, but
Mhm.
tell
Yeah,
us. We want to
that's
hear
right.
it.
That's right. Can't please everybody every day. It's
No,
impossible. Do you know how many international subscribers the digest currently has?
several hundred,
Several hundred.
which
Okay.
is a fairly big number. When I talk to the editors of the Doof, the editors of the Pictorial in England, the Doof is in Holland,
Okay.
and the German magazine, they don't have that many
Yep.
foreign. But
Oh
I,
my
I
goodness.
intend to capture more of that with
That was
social media and the website.
Yeah, that was going to be my next question. Do you have any plans to grow the international distribution of the Racing Pigeon Digest?
Absolutely. I mean, just from my days doing the YouTube and the Loft Report, I mean, the amount of people from the Philippines, South Africa, Taiwan, India, Pakistan, South America. I mean, it was
Yep.
crushing how many people, like, how do you do this? How do you do that? Why do you do
Yeah.
this? Why do you do that?
Yeah.
Health questions, eyesight question, you name it.
Yeah.
You couldn't answer all of the emails, the texts, and the
Yeah.
phone calls. You
Oh my
couldn't do it.
gracious. Well, and I think it's fascinating because that's where the sport's growing. That's where so many new people are coming into the sport is Southeast Asia and China
Right.
and all these other countries. And you're right. I think they're just dying for knowledge of how to do this. I guess we're kind of spoiled in Europe and America. We've been flying pigeons for so long. Most of the knowledge is already in our blood per se, but in other
Sure.
places it's not. That's super. Perhaps just an idea on your digital version. Maybe you have it so that the page can be translated. I know
Yes.
on rpauctions.com we have a little
Hmm.
flag up in the corner, and they can literally pick the language that they want to view
Yes.
the auctions in. And the whole web page will just change that language. And it's really cool. We don't have every language, of course. I think we have like 10
Right.
or something different ones, but the popular ones. So that may be an idea for your digital version as well.
Hmm.
The more, like you said, the more eyes we can get, on us and on what we're doing, the
Right.
better it is for everybody worldwide.
And I would just say this too, Kevin, is the best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago.
Yeah.
The best time to plant a tree is today.
Yeah.
And and I've seen in my experience of my life is that a lot of people who are coming back into the sport flew pigeons when they were kids, their uncle flew, or somebody in their
Yes.
family, or maybe a neighbor flew, and they were exposed as a kid.
Yep.
And then they had their life, and then they've retired, and now they're getting back into it.
Exactly.
And the national organizations, you, me, as deliverers of pigeon information, we need to also be mindful of that
Yes.
how they flew 60 years ago, 50 years ago, it's not how we fly today.
Exactly.
uh,
Yeah.
but adding those layers in, I think it's warranted. And again, not everything is about making money. A
No,
lot of
no,
this is
definitely.
just about delivering good information that people can
Exactly.
go out in their loft and put it to use and go, wow, I can actually see a benefit here.
Yeah. Yeah. I changed how I was doing this based on something I read in the digest. And oh my gosh, I won two races this year when before I couldn't even
Right.
make the top of the sheet, right?
Right.
That's what we want. That's what you and I both want. We want to see success. We want to share our success. Not that I have that much, but we want to share the success and share the knowledge, and I think create something for posterity as well, for future generations to be able to look back on. And maybe someday they're going to be looking at our interview and saying like, I can't believe they used to do that back then. It's
Yeah.
going to be really
And I
interesting.
would like just to leave you with this too, Kevin, is when you travel around, I've had the opportunity to travel around. The best advertisers in the world are the Belgians. They self-promote like nobody else.
Yeah.
We know who the national ace pigeon of Belgium is. We know who the
Yep.
middle distance guy. We all know who
Yep.
those
Whether
people
it's
are. But who
Kittle, Cannibal, we know them all. Yep.
but who is it in America? Who are our national aces? And that's part of what
We
the
don't know.
digest and what you're doing is to bring those people forward and show them, those
Exactly.
folks might not want to sell pigeons,
Yeah.
but they still deserve our respect and
Absolutely.
our dignity to promote them and to bring them forward. So
Absolutely.
that's what I want the digest to do. And
Perfect.
look out. We are in the midst of doing some good things.
Well, I can't wait to get my next episode, Drew, and it should have your fingerprints all over it. I'm looking forward to
I
it.
appreciate
And
that.
Drew's going to join us on a future episode, and we're going to talk to Drew more about his personal pigeons, his loft, maybe learn how he trains, how he feeds. And I
Sure.
believe he said he'd even give us a loft tour. So the
Right.
YouTube viewers will have to stay tuned for that because I believe, Drew, there's something special about your loft, right?
I did. I decided to design and build a pigeon loft in Belgium, and instead of buying a sports car, so I have this big, beautiful loft here. And
So.
next time I see you, we're gonna have
Stay
birds
tuned.
again.
Yeah. We're going to leave them hanging, Drew. We're just going to
Yeah,
leave them hanging with
yeah,
that. And we'll have you on for sure once you let me know that that loft is ready to
we'll
go.
do it.
And we'll show everybody because that is, I didn't even know that was possible. So that is fascinating. I can't wait to see it. And
Great.
Drew, thank you again so much for joining us. Best of luck with the Racing Pigeon Digest, and I'll keep my subscription active to keep an eye on you. And thank you so much again, Drew. Have a
Appreciate
great
it.
week, and
And thank you,
we will,
everybody.
yeah, we will definitely chat again soon with you, Drew. Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much.
Yeah. Bye bye.
Bye bye.